You're listening to World of Empowerment Radio, your station for practical spirituality in a changing world. And here are your hosts, Angel Rose and Ahanu.
The Honest to God series with Angel Rose and Ahanu.
You are all very, very welcome. I am Ahanu, and with me is my lovely Angel Rose.
People are demanding answers.
Basically exposing the truth
For us to explore in more detail today.
This is the time period of truth being exposed, of all the unhealed stuff coming out.
So make sure you tune in. You can subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher Radio,
And on our website at worldofempowerment.com.
Don't miss an episode. Hit the subscribe button now.
Hi, you are very welcome. I am Ahanu. And recently, over the last several episodes of the Honest to God series, Angel Rose and I have been promising you to do a session on miracles. Now, such is the power of the ego and the way things get in the way that was proven more and more difficult as time went on. But we decided to take the bull by the horns, as it were, and sit down and do this session on miracles for you. The thing to remember about this session is that miracles is such a comprehensive subject, and it's impossible that it will be covered in a small, short episode like this in the Honest to God series. But what we have done, though, is we have spoken out the things that were on our minds, and we have come to a short little, I think it's like 17 minutes, we've come to a 17-minute introduction, I guess you could call it, to miracles. And we want to present that to you now. So please enjoy, and do leave your feedback on YouTube or on our website at worldofempowerment.com or on angelrose.com. We'd love to hear what you have to say about miracles, or indeed leave it on Facebook, and I'll leave all the links to our various social media accounts below. So have a go at it, see how you get on. You are very welcome back to the Honest to God series. I am Ahanu, and with me, as always, is my beautiful Angel Rose. For many weeks we've been promising to bring you miracles. Well, miracles, as you know, are everywhere, but we just don't perceive them. We don't believe that they're possible. We think that they're external to us, that they happen. But in fact, everything is a miracle. Everything is a miracle. Now, how can we say that? Well, many years ago, let's describe this by telling a story. Many years ago, Angel Rose and I, in Ireland, attended a little meeting where they were talking about sovereignty. Now, at that point in time, sovereignty was a big deal. And it was a big deal because so many people were enslaved by the system. And this attracted us because we too were enslaved by the system. And this is not getting into conspiracy theories or anything. It's simply awareness. It's simply a consciousness that says, who am I really? And all of this, of course, arose out of us doing an Akashic Record session where we simply put out the question, who am I and why am I here? And that session attracted the most people than any session we ever had. And the reason is because people are anxious to know, who am I? Who am I? What am I doing? And where am I going? And all of these questions need to be answered. And despite all the sessions that we've done, it seems that we constantly skirt around the issue. And when we talk about sovereignty, we begin to peel away the layers. We begin to look at who we are really. So let's backtrack. Let's go back to that issue of sovereignty first, so that we can begin to peel away the layers and begin to find out who we are, and in that way begin to realize the miracle. So when we talk about sovereignty, we're talking about the personality who we are on earth that gets labelled with a social security number, that gets labeled with a passport that gets labeled with a name. And then that physical being becomes owned by the government. Okay, so why does that happen? Why is that the case? Because all of that is about power and about possession. The more people you own, the more slaves you have, the wealthier you are. So in that way, we have become slaves to this system. And this is why when you have a free man is not owned by anybody, and I mean man as in human. Let's not get into the gender stuff here. So freedom is about sovereignty, and sovereignty is about freedom, and all of those are about the conscious awareness of who we are really at the core level, not the body. Now, many years ago also, we learnt to meditate, and in the state of meditation, we find that after a short while, we don't feel our body anymore. And we feel as if the tether or the line that is connecting us into our body gets loosened or even freed up, so that we float. We don't feel our seat on the chair. We don't feel ourselves lying on the bed where we are. We feel as if we are free of that, and we have this sensation of floating. That is a miracle, and that is beginning to sense the true nature of ourselves, which is not contained by boundaries. When we sleep, we release that tether to the physical body, and we find that in our sleep we can fly, we can swim underwater without breathing. We find we can do all kinds of amazing things. That is a miracle. When we go out of body for whatever reason, whether it's just unconsciousness or trauma, that is a miracle, because it's releasing us from the confines of what we perceived as confines. And then we come full circle to the ego, that the ego is a vested interest in keeping us confined, because that's its power. And when we enter into sovereignty, when we enter into dreams, when we enter into meditation, we release the hold of the ego, and thereby sense what that freedom is. We sense what that unboundedness is, and we sense the miracle. So why is all of this coming up? Well, many of you will know that recently we had a little grandbaby born to us in San Diego, and we came to visit. And even in gazing upon a newborn baby, the question must arise in people as to, when does the personality come into this little physical body? When does the spirit enter into this physical being? When does the ego begin to take hold? And all of these questions come to us as conscious beings. And a lot of times the answers are very evasive, because this ego wants other people to be ego also. It wants everybody to be in the physical. It wants everybody to be ego-based beings. And in that way, doesn't like to explore the possibility that it can be outside of the physical body. So in the same way as we look at newborn and we look at birth, we've also explored the possibility of the planes of existence after death. And in exploring the planes of existence after death, we find that it's like being born again. It's like the newborn. It's like exploring a whole new awareness, a whole new level of consciousness. And in that way, we realize that it's exactly the same thing. Birth is death. Death is birth. Life is death. Death is life. And it's all a miracle. The whole thing is a miracle. Everything is a miracle. The very fact that I am speaking right here, right now, is a miracle. The fact that you're hearing me right here, right now, is a miracle. Every moment is a miracle. A bird flying is a miracle. A baby being born is a miracle. A person dying is a miracle. Every movement is a miracle. It's only when we slow down enough to realize that we're not here at all, we realize the extent of the miracle. And this happened to me the other day when I was typing on my laptop. And as I was typing the words, the words appeared on the screen. And I realized that they were digital. They were simply digital. They were electrons that were caused by my physical body by pressing a key to be entered into an electronic system that simply showed itself back to me on the screen to confirm to me and convince me that it was there. Otherwise, it was nowhere. Now, if you think about that for a second, you realize that it's a miracle. I mean, if you had said to somebody 20, 30, 40 years ago that you were speaking to somebody in Australia or Hong Kong on a cell phone with no wires, no cables, as if they were standing beside you, they would say it's a miracle. And they are miracles. Everything like this is a miracle. But interestingly enough, we are also talking about digital. So to go back to the idea of typing something on a computer and it being a miracle. Money is exactly the same. So when you transfer money from your one account to another account, or somebody pays you digitally or pays you through their smartphone, that is digits moving digitally, electronically in the ether and are not physically real at all. Now I know you know this, but we still accept it as being physical. We still believe it to be real. So if you take my laptop and let's say a bulldozer rolled over my laptop, where is my document? Where are the words that I typed just 5 minutes before? Yeah. And in the same way, if somebody had transferred $10 million to me, and there it was on my laptop, and a bulldozer rolled over my laptop, where's the $10 million? It was never there in the first place. It was there in my perception. It was there in my belief. And so also is my physical body. My physical body is only here because I believe it to be here. That is a miracle. Now, how do I know this to be true now? Well, in the same way as our little grandbaby has a physical body in our perception that a spirit is tethering to, a spirit body is entering into, so that thinking can take place, so that consciousness can take place. In the same way, our physical bodies contain that consciousness. But when I say contain, it assumes that there are boundaries. And therein lies the beautiful possibility of sovereignty. The idea that you are not contained by laws, by rules, by regulations, by physical boundaries, by skin, by laptops, by computers, by names, by labels. When we believe, when we understand that our beliefs contain us, we are entering into sovereignty. We're entering into the possibilities of freedom. We are entering into the miracle. If you were to hold your hand to your stomach just for a few moments, and even do this now as I'm speaking, hold your hand to your stomach, or hold it to your leg, or hold your two hands together even. And just become aware of the sense of touch. And you will find that after a few minutes, the boundary disappears. You will find the sense of touch goes fuzzy, and that the boundary between your hand and your stomach, or your hand and your hand, disappears. And it's like your hand merges with what it's touching. Why is that? And what's happening? And what's happening is that a little bit of truth is coming out, that the boundary didn't exist in the first place. This is what happens in meditation. This is what happens in birth. And this is what happens in death. Boundaries change. Boundaries change all the time. Quantities change. Limits change. Perceptions change. Beliefs change. So the fluid universe that we're in is constantly changing. And this is the miracle. So how do we embody this? How do we, and there's me using a limiting word like embody, how do we understand this better? How do we accept this into our consciousness? Well, the more you meditate, the more the unboundedness becomes a reality. The more we realize our sovereignty, the more we realize how limited we were in the past, how we accepted the limitations of ourselves in the past, how we accepted the laws and the rules and the regulations, how we used them to label us, how we used religions and other belief systems to be our identity, to accept that that was who we were. This is a very liberating possibility. Entering into miracles is a very liberating and mind-opening possibility. So we've covered a lot of ground there in a short space of time, and we'd like to leave you with that possibility that everything is a miracle.
So that brings us to the end of that session today on miracles. We hope you enjoyed it. We know it was short. We know it was impossible to cover all of the aspects of miracles, and we only covered it at a very high level. But nonetheless, it's important to outline it and to bring it into your awareness and bring it into our consciousness, and let us all be aware of the fact that we are walking miracles. And we look forward to having more fun with miracles as time goes on. Blessings from myself, Ahanu, and from Angel Rose.
You have been listening to Angel Rose and Ahanu on World of Empowerment Radio, your station for practical spirituality in a changing world.